I'm going to quickly create a project here. So just click on next. So previously, I think just an empty activity is okay. I will name it navigation. Sorry, navigation course. You can name it anything you want. So I'll place it on my YouTube folder called navigation, and then just finish. So the project will create. So I'm just going to extract the screen. So if you ideally on this screen, so you can just go to File, New Project, then you can continue from here where we are. So the project will build. So as I add just a few things. So the first thing I would want us to understand is what is navigation. So navigation is basically navigating or moving from one screen to another in your mobile application. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to remove all these guys here. Just remove these guys here. Just doing a few cleanup, so we can remove the scaffold and just everything, so we can just remain with our theme here. So we're going to build a very simple application, moving from one screen to another. So we're going to have 3 screens. So I'm going to expand the app, go to Kotlin, go to the com folder. We have the UI and the main activity. So just close this here. I want us to create 3 screens. So we're going to, we could ideally create everything here, all the screens and the navigation here. But I think for a better view or for a better architecture, we're going to create them under the UI. So under the UI, I'm going to create a new package. So we just call them screens. And then inside these screens, I'm going to create 3 files here. So one, we can just call it home screen, or we can just call it screen A. Screen A, that's a file. We are going to also have other screens, so that's screen B and everything else. So, but for us, I want us to start with basically a very simple screen. So that should just have a text called screen A. Then the other screen will have a text called screen B. Then the other one's called screen C. So I'm going to just create a new composable here, screen A. Up to here we're done. So allow me to create a preview, which will allow us to see what we are exactly doing. So just type in preview. Then we need to show some background, show background too. And then composable screen A preview. And then we now call this screen here. So we just call here screen A. So if we open our preview here, so this is it. Let me just also go full screen here. Build and refresh. So we should be able to see a screen, a full screen preview of what we are doing here. So just make sure that the ratio is this way. So we could start by basically creating a column. So in this column, I would want to have a whole screen taking the entire space. So I'm going to use a modifier. If you don't know what this modifier and everything else, so I think we will do we have a separate course on that. So on understanding what composable what composables are. So fill max size. So if I now put it to the aspect ratio, so you should be able to see this kind of preview. Now let's have a text. I don't want to start directly with positioning items here. I just also want you to just understand. So you have a text here. Just type in a text. We're gonna do a text, then full screen. So we can just say screen A. Now, if you see, it's positioned on your top right, top left by default. So to place this composable in the middle of the screen, so that's what we're going to do now. We're going to add this guy here. So we have something called vertical arrangement and arrangement.center. So this will place on the center, but on right by default. So if you need to place this screen here in the middle, the text here in the middle, so we need to add horizontal alignment.center horizontally. We can now see we have this screen here. I'm just going to format it here. And to increase the font size, you just again type in font size. So Compose is very simple. Just type in font size, maybe 33. So the unit of measurement for sizes is called SP. So you're going to do that. So you can see now we have a very big screen here. The next thing will be adding a button. So just like I said, a button. So this button takes in a lambda, not a lambda, but a callback called onClick. For now, we're going to leave it that way. So if you need to see what the properties of a composable are, so you just over your mouse, and you should be able to clearly see we have onClick, modifier, enable, shape, colors. You can change the colors and play around, but for today, we're going to focus on navigation. So this button will have a text. We're going to say go to screen B. Yeah, so the other thing will be we need to add some space here. So we can just use something called space. So a spacer, like I said, it's space. So basically it's Compose is very, very simple. Spacer. Use the modifier to add more properties. So we're going to say we need a height. So the difference, the distance between screen A and the button on screen B should actually have some distance. I'm going to say let's have a distance of 30. So this one is used at dependency pixels. And for the measurements in terms of size, we use SP. So note the difference. So you can see now we have our screen A, go to screen B. We are done we are done for now from here. So I'm going to duplicate this, and ideally, because we're all good, I don't think we now need this preview. We can just remove this, given we are done. But so I'm going to duplicate them, and I'm just going to copy this guy here, then paste here, and call this one screen B. And then, so I'm just going to rename this to screen B. So preview screen B. Also, just build and refresh. You should be able to see screen B. Sorry. And in screen B, we say go to screen C. You can see the difference is already here. And then again, we're going to paste the same thing we do for screen C. Same thing again. So we say from screen C, we need to go back to screen A. And this one will be our screen C preview. And this one will be our screen C. Okay, we have a problem here, screen C, sorry. Right, so if you build and refresh this, we should be able to see that we are now in screen C, screen C, and we need to go back to screen A. I think we forgot something. For screen B, so we are in screen B, we need to go to screen C. So up to there, I think we are done building our screen. So the next thing is to now build the navigation. We now need to start building the navigation graph. So we need to create another file and then have the NavHost and then the NavController. And I'm just calling it a navigation graph. I'm going to make it a file. Of course, definitely you can still build the same thing in the main activity, but that's not a good practice. So we're just going to build it here. And from here, this should be composable. And I will call it, let me just call it app navigation or navigation graph. So given that we have this is a keyword, so keyword words in any programming language that have predefined meaning, so we can't use that. So I'm just going to call it main navigation graph. So the first thing will be to declare the NavController. So I'm just going to say NavController. I'm just going to give it a variable name called NavController, and remember NavController. Remember NavController. Now, I'm not getting this completion because we haven't added a navigation to our application. So I'm just going to quickly do that using AI because I want us to move fast. So I'm just going to pull it up. So I'm just going to say dependency for navigation in Jetpack Compose. So this one will provide me with this. Oh, there's a shortcut to do this. So this is what exactly I need. So, but I will show you how you need to use the new way. So I'm just going to copy this. And back on my Android Studio, so I'm just going to expand the libraries. Now, the new format, the new way is you need to declare your versions here. You declare your libraries here, and then your plugins. And then, of course, you will come back to your Gradle here. You need to, okay, you don't need to include serializations will come next in our next navigation course. You just need to put this guy here. So with this, you can just say implementation, navigation. So I'm just gonna remove this and add the old school way. So that should be 2.9.6. Okay, well, it is wrong here. So we have double. And then I'm going to remove the version name here. I'm going to say implementation, Android, close this guy here. And then we have this version, sorry, here. And then we close it here. Now, if I over my cursor here, it tells me to replace with the new library. So it will follow the format that we were talking about earlier on. And then I'm just going to sync. Now, if we go back to our navigation here and you say, remember NavController, you see now we don't have any problem. The next thing will be to declare a NavHost. So we do have different kind of NavHost here. So for now, we wanted to focus with the one that has the start destination. So I'm just going to pick that. And just next here, so we need a start destination, and we also do need our NavController. So first thing is to pass the NavController. I'm just going to say NavController, and then we need our start destination. So let's say our start destination is screen A. So here we need to pass our screens here. So we're going to say composable. So the one with the root here, and our root is A, and we need to tell composable that Compose that for us to navigate to screen A, the composable responsible for that is screen A. So this guy here. We go back to the navigation graph and tell Compose Compose that screen A will be responsible for doing the navigations. Same thing for screen B. So I'm just going to copy this guy here. Copy. Just paste. We're going to tell Compose we do also have screen B and screen C. And for screen C is responsible, and for screen B is responsible. So if you do click on Command B or Control B, it should take you to where this screen is declared. Back to navigations again. Now, the next thing will be to start pulling over the navigations. So we need to also tell our composable screens that we are using navigation here. So we need to tell them that we are using the NavController. Sorry, NavController of NavController. Now, if you remember, we had some actions to do here with the button clicks. So we were telling our user, if you click on this button, go to screen B. So we use NavController to do that. So we come here and call NavController.navigate. Now, our resource here should be the root. So we are saying now navigate to screen B. And remember, in our navigation graph, we were saying our screen B should be a composable screen B. So same thing for screen B. We're going to say NavController. Then we're going to do the same thing here, NavController.navigate to screen C. Sorry, screen C. C. And then screen B is complaining. Okay, we do have we haven't passed in, so we can just do this preview away. So we don't need them now. So we can just close this. So screen C, we're in screen C now. So we're gonna say here NavController. Then we need to navigate back to screen A. So we need to tell the button here that when the user clicks on the button in screen C, you should go back to screen A. So we're gonna say NavController.navigate to screen A. So we're gonna just do again away with these guys here. We don't need them. And now we are done. So so the remaining thing will be on the main activity. So we go back to the navigation graph. Okay, so we are passing in. If you open your mouse here, okay, your cursor or whatever the mouse is, it says no value passed for parameter NavController. We need to pass this NavController inside this composable here. So just say NavController, same thing here, NavController, and NavController. So just quick recap. So we built the screen here. So you're just going to remove this guy also. We built a screen, so which add a column containing a text. So we're using a column because we need to position the children or the composable in a column, and then the other one is a row, of course. And we're adding some space here, and then we also do have some buttons here. So close that. Same thing for screen B, screen C, and then we came back to the navigation graph. We do have the navigation graph, so which has we don't use a modifier right now. I just remove that. Optimize the imports. So then the first thing is so I'm just going to put here step 1. Step 1 is you declare the NavController. Step 1 is to declare. I'm going to do here step 1 is the NavController. Instantiate your NavController, and then we're going to have our step 2. Step 2, which is you declare your NavHost, which requires 2 things. One is the NavController, and the other thing will be your destination, which is usually your start destinations. Step 3 will now be you declaring you declare your screens. So your screens. Inside these screens, you must specify your route, and you must specify your composable or the composable screen responsible for doing that kind of navigation. And if you're passing in the NavController from the screen, you need to pass in your params here, which happens to be the NavController. So I think basically these are the first 3 main steps, and then the remaining thing will now be telling the main activity, where the entry part of the application that we now have the person controlling the navigation is now the main graph. So as we build that, just final check. So step 1 is to make sure we have your screens, as 3 of your screens, and step 2 is the second step in navigation graph is to make sure that we have your instantiate remember NavController. Then the next thing will be your NavHost, where it's going to control the navigation. And then step 3 is you must have declared all these screens responsible for the navigation. Now, so we have screen A. So if we do click on go to screen B, you see we go to screen B, go to screen C, we are back to screen C, then we now go back to screen A. That's amazing. But if we click and now go back, so we go back, so we go, we keep looping a lot. Now, to end this, so maybe let's say once we are back to screen A and you press your back button, you need to exit application. But this happened after we've done multiple back navigation. So we're going to understand that later. So we can do that exactly in screen C. So once you've done your NavController, allow me to just clean this up. So once you've done navigating, so we have something called pop up to, and then we now just say we want to, once you pop up to A, so this should be your last guy. Now let's try run the application again and try see if that will solve the equation. So go to screen B, screen A, screen C, and then we now move back. So back, we are in screen A, but we had to do double clicks to click on it double or twice before the app exited. Now we have something called inclusive. So we need to specify that this inclusive should be true. So once you include the inclusion, okay, the inclusive, you should only now click the application once. So we are now go to screen B, we are in screen B, go to screen C, and we are in screen A, and we now exit the application. You see that we've done. So basically that is it from this. So the next thing is trying to improve on the navigation. So you see now the problem is you are passing NavController here, we're passing another NavController in B, we're passing another NavController in C. Next thing will be to improve on this kind of navigation.